moves in a slight sway on an idyllic day for the Newport Beach Doubles Shootout presented by Selkirk. 36 courts packed with pickleball lovers on the Carvana PPA Tour. We set our eyes to the mixed pro doubles final, where 16-year-old Jorja Johnson and her brother, JW, look to earn their first title together against a new partnership of Tyson McGuffin and Lacy Schneemann. Alongside senior pro pickleball player Dave Fleming, I'm Cameron Irwin. Now it's the 7 versus the 12 seed. Maybe unexpected, but definitely anticipated in terms of this type of a matchup. What are you expecting?
I love that mixed doubles is a big part of pickleball, and I love what these ladies have been doing. I cannot wait to see what Lacy Schneemann and Jorja Johnson are up to. They've been firing the ball. They don't care if it's a guy in front of them. They are going to bring the heat. Who will come out on top?
Well, that's going to be the question. But first, we have to educate you on exactly how the fastest growing sport in America is played.
So we're going to play best of 3 games today. You got to get to 11, but win by 2. 11-10's not good enough, Cam. Side out scoring, which means only the server can win the point. So you got to have the ball. And the lines will be called by the players. If there's a call you don't really like, we do have a challenge system, so you will be able to challenge.
Well, any final thoughts for this matchup? A championship. Tyson McGuffin, he's quite fun to watch.
He is indeed. He will have antics galore, and he's been known to crack a beer if he wins at the end. Will he have that chance today, Cameron?
Well, our 4 pros are ready and warmed up.
Let's get to the action. Tyson McGuffin, Lacy Schneemann facing off against Jorja Johnson and JW Johnson. The 12 versus the 7. Our first server, the 16-year-old Jorja Johnson, playing alongside her brother, JW. Just off the foot of JW.
And we're firing early here, Cam. Why not? It's
0-0-1.
Strike first pickleball. See who can get the offense going quickly.
Early, they target Lacy Schneemann, just 26 years old, now residing in Los Angeles. Plenty of family in the crowd for her.
Side out.
Miss serve from Tyson McGuffin.
Yeah, a little amped up here in the final for the most electrifying man in sports. And what an electrifying angle from Tyson McGuffin there, my goodness. And if you haven't seen him play before, he will be playing to the crowd all afternoon long.
One of the great personalities in the game of pickleball. The ATP defense and put away. Explain it, Dave.
Yeah, so ATP stands for around the post. Cam, you don't have to hit the ball over the net, because if it goes wide enough, you can go around the post, but you can defend that too, and it is the Johnsons that end up on top of that. What a great piece of defense from the brother-sister duo.
And another side out for Schneemann and McGuffin. McGuffin, 33 years of age. And the quick hands, they come at a premium in the game of pickleball.
They sure do. You got to have great reflexes because you are only 14 feet away from your opponent, 7 feet on each side of the net at that no volley line, or kitchen as we call it.
Thanks to the 2 bounce rules, there are several different types of contacts in the game of pickleball. We just saw several dinks in a row.
Second serve.
Because when you have all 4 people at the kitchen line, Cameron, you're trying to move the ball around, work the point, find it, and don't leave the ball up, because if you do, you may end up with a tattoo.
So apart from the dinks, you'll also see drives as well as speed ups. Those come at the kitchen line, which you see as the lighter blue on the court. Just 7 feet on both sides of the net.
1-2-1.
JW Johnson, just 20 years old. Now that kitchen is also called the non-volley zone, which means you have to take the ball out of the air with your feet behind the kitchen line. That's a great look at it there as a volley comes. Quick wrist to JW Johnson.
Second serve.
Great ball down at the feet of Jorja Johnson. That's where you want to target it. People are so good, and big difference between tennis is you can live in that transition area. There is no man's land in pickleball.
So trading side outs now at 2 apiece.
2-2-1. Second serve.
And you saw the 3rd shot drop. Explain why the 3rd shot drop is so important in pickleball.
You want to be able to get yourself to the kitchen because you have to let the return bounce. So you want to get your team up there and have the chance to work that point, as we talked about, and then find an opportunity. And that one, unfortunately, for McGuffin, hit the tape and had so much on it, sails deep, so the ball goes back to the other side.
Now this great game requires great patience, but also incredible hand-eye coordination and reflexes. This is what's taken the United States by storm, just in terms of the accessibility, how fun it is, the great community that comes alongside it. Over 46 million pickleball players now in the U.S.
Point.
Yeah, and there you see that patient part of the game you mentioned there, trying to move the ball around, wait for your opponent to pop it up. Schneemann catches the net there.
Tyson McGuffin looking for the forehand on the backhand side. He comes from a wrestling background as well as some tennis pedigree out of Lake Chelan. And JW Johnson right through the middle.
Yeah, a little late Siblings Day present for his sister, April 10th. Love seeing brother and sister out here battling for a title.
If you're new to pickleball, they're looking for the shake and bake, the poach from Lacy Schneemann. Product of USC, where she played club tennis. And man, has Newport Beach showed up. This is an incredible view of Championship Court and the numerous fans. And some shorter rallies now. Why might that be?
Yeah, I think both teams, as we mentioned at the outset, really want to go after the offense. They don't want the dinking. They don't want to sit around and just dink the ball. They want to blast the ball, but you have to be smart when you make those choices.
Side out.
Playing for all the marbles, or at least I should say gold here in this final. This is the 8th stop on the Carvana PPA Tour in 2023. Just over a third of the way through the season.
Second serve.
Yeah, both teams are taking the traditional mixed doubles positioning, meaning the male player on the left side of the court.
And the quick hands of JW Johnson.
And that male player is usually looking to have that big forehand in the middle. Great job by JW Johnson to go an outside hip there for the clean winner.
So Johnson and Johnson looking awfully steady here in the final. Can the brother and sister continue the trek here on Championship Court? The Newport Beach doubles shootout presented by Selkirk in the midst of the first game of the finals.
And you love it if you're Selkirk, you got your star attraction, Tyson McGuffin, using a Selkirk paddle there, so he'd love to bring it home for his sponsor.
Tyson McGuffin, one of the great veterans of the game, picking up double gold just a few short weeks ago at the Red Rock Open.
He's got that great flow, too, coming out of that Skechers hat.
If you're new to the game of pickleball, when you are serving and you pick up the point, you then switch sides as to where you're serving. It's a double side out.
Johnson again doing a great job of patrolling that middle. That is closed. He is not letting anything beat him down the middle. Well done there by JW. Beautiful matrix move from Tyson McGuffin and shaking his head. And as we always talk about, he feels like he's got the entire crowd on his side. He doesn't care if Johnson family members are in the crowd. He thinks they're cheering for him.
Tyson McGuffin has once said he doesn't lose to kids. Well, he's got a 16-year-old on the other side. And of course, he was only just being a little goofy, as Tyson McGuffin is. That was in reference to Hayden Patriquin, another young pro on the tour.
And here's one of the unique parts of pickleball. You'll see sometimes switching sides within the rally as Schneemann comes across. You want to keep that preferred position. So as long as you hit the return from that side, you can go wherever you darn well want after that, Cam. You got to have the foot speed and the athleticism that Schneemann certainly has.
Johnson with a huge rally.
Yeah, and there's the big difference between those of you that have watched a lot of tennis. It is hard to put that overhead away. The defense is so good, and the difference in the ball, the wiffle ball type of ball that we use in pickleball versus a tennis ball, which compresses. You can bounce a tennis ball into 30th row. You can't do that with a pickleball. Great defense by these two.
Schneemann right now reaching in and speeding up cross court.
4-5-2.
The Johnsons out of Boynton Beach, Florida, originally out of Pittsburgh, Kansas. Between these two teams, patience on full display.
Yeah, big jump across there. That's called an Ernie. So the no volley zone that we talked about is flat. You can jump over it, and you are absolutely fine as long as your launch point and your landing do not touch that kitchen line.
Now on both sides. Now, Dave, one of the unique elements that separates pickleball from tennis is that the advantage actually lies with the returner rather than the serving team.
Right, because you can't serve and volley here, or that's an immediate fault. You must let the return bounce, as that one does there, and then work your way up.
And a little net love as Tyson tosses that back to Jorja.
Yeah, I mean, this is as quick as they come, Tyson McGuffin, and even this ball is not going to come back from his soccer paddle.
Points.
Missed out the back. Now, as much as this is a brother-sister duo, you might as well add in mom, as Julie Johnson, the mother of these two, also a touring senior pro.
Terrific player. And there you saw what pickleball is all about at the pro level, at the kitchen line, waiting, finding, ready to prowl. And if that ball's up, you saw JW Johnson seize that opportunity, snap off a volley out of the air, and they win the rally.
So timeout called here on championship court. Tyson McGuffin and Lacy Schneemann are looking against the Johnsons. CBS Sports Galazzo Network is a first of its kind free channel dedicated to global soccer coverage. Find it on the CBS Sports app, Pluto TV, and Paramount Plus. Tied up at 6 apiece here on championship court. Jorja Johnson, JW Johnson, Tyson McGuffin, and Lacy Schneemann in Game 1 action.
6-6-1.
Working around the corner is Jorja Johnson.
Yeah, great job of trying to find some different angles and
7-6-1.
really caught Lacy Schneemann leaning to cover the angle and went right back down the middle. Well done by Jorja.
That's an area of improvement for JW Johnson. That forehand speed up off the bounce.
Yes, he's worked on that, and all of us who have played pickleball have a pickleball tattoo, and now Mr. McGuffin has a souvenir.
Just so much pace off the paddle of Tyson McGuffin.
Yeah, instead of a stinking angle, he went with blunt force trauma there, right, as hard as he could, and that got the ball back for him.
8-6-2.
One of the unique elements, too, while watching Tyson McGuffin and Lacy Schneemann is they compete on the same Major League pickleball team. However, they don't necessarily play alongside in terms of their pairings. This is their first competition together, which makes it even that much more remarkable.
Yeah, I think there is a lot to be said, though, for the camaraderie of being teammates. They know each other. They've cheered each other on before, so you're bringing that. Now how do you mesh, obviously, very well to make the final.
Second serve.
And again, these quick rallies off the shake and bake. Lacy Schneemann has been on point
6-9-2.
to get to this final on that exact same play.
Point.
Lacy looking for her first gold on the Carvana PPA Tour.
Yeah, a player on the rise, tremendous athleticism, huge forehand, as you saw there. And this is a team that came roaring back in their quarterfinal match when they were down big and won. So them being behind is nothing new. they're very comfortable with that, and that is surprising in a new team, but that shows that, man, they are in tune with each other and what they need to do to win a match. And that's the other thing about pickleball. You're like, well, you can't serve it over your head, obviously. You must serve it below the waist. But if you go for it, you can set yourself up for some mistakes or shorter returns. And McGuffin certainly does that well.
Side out.
Well, and you make a great point. You know, so much of the conversation around pickleball in the country is that, you know,
991.
the serve, it's just lobbed in there. That's not necessarily the case anymore when you take a look at these pros. And Jorja Johnson with a sigh of relief. I think she knows she got away with one.
10-9-1.
She most definitely did, because that was going to be smashed down the middle. Instead, catches the tape and goes wide, and we're going to be looking at a game point on the other side of this.
Coming up next, we head to the heart of Germany's capital city. The championship still up for grabs. They are racing at the 2023 Saarbeck Berlin E-Prix. Next on CBS.
10-9, Jorja Johnson and JW Johnson with a shot at game point. JW will serve.
10-9-1.
Everyone was holding their breath at Newport Beach.
I needed oxygen there, Cam. I thought, oh my gosh, are they going to win on a ball that sits on the tape and dribbles over? And then a missed serve on game point. Oh my goodness.
Now with side out scoring, no points are put on the scoreboard, but the ball is on the opposing side. McGuffin trying to come up with magic in the transition zone.
Yeah, and you heard him using his paddle for balance. That Selkirk paddle he kept using to push off as he was trying to get that ball to bounce one more time and just couldn't.
That's a great location. Jorja Johnson has become known as a speed-up specialist, even in mixed, which is astonishing.
Love that she did that right there. Another shot to win game one.
Game one to the 7th seed, Johnson and Johnson. The youngins looking for their first goal together on the Carvana PPA Tour. They are one step closer.
CBS Sports Spectacular PPA Tour Pickleball is sponsored by PNC Bank. Rooted in communities big and small.
Game one to Jorja and JW Johnson. Dave, what impressed you the most about their approach to their game?
I love when a young team comes into a final and doesn't look like a young team. They played aggressive, they played their style. Jorja was firing away, and they took it 11-9. So the question is, what can Schneemann and McGuffin do? It was only 2 points, so I don't want to see wild strategy changes. They've just got to execute better. Will they force a game three? We'll find out.
Well, Tyson and Lacy look to respond in game two.
Let's get to game number 2 of the Pro Mixed Doubles final of the Newport Beach Double Shootout, presented by our fantastic sponsor, Selkirk. Currently rocked in the hand of Tyson McGuffin. That white and gold paddle, premium colorway. That is all Tyson McGuffin designed. Lacy Schneemann will serve for game number 2. mentioned some of the unique backgrounds that each one of these athletes presents, and how they found pickleball is always a fun story. But Lacy Schneemann, she's unique in her own right.
She sure is. She is a product design engineer at Boeing, working on electronics packaging for satellites. That's one smart lady playing pickleball right there, Cam.
Missed off the top of the net, but it was just a 2-point game. Does it come down to execution?
Yeah, it really does. They made that rampage of a comeback where at 9-all, Tyson had a ball, went off the tape, and then they had to give that ball back and got a couple, and that's the way pickleball works. So I don't think there's changes necessary on the Schneemann and McGuffin side at all at this point.
On the forehand counter.
And what you saw there that's a unique part of pickleball as well is JW Johnson looked like he was in absolute jail, but the great equalizer is being able to drop the ball in the kitchen and being able to recover. Johnson did a great job of getting himself back in the point. You cannot do that in tennis or other sports because there isn't a safety zone.
Tyson McGuffin also repping his Skechers attire. He'll be creating his own line alongside Skechers.
Yeah, looks like he rolled off one of our beaches out here in Southern California.
He's got the muscle tee. It's been at Muscle Beach. From JW Johnson. He's become notorious for these short little dinks over the net. One of the fantastic personalities in the game. He's not shy to have a good time on the court.
And just to clarify one thing, new people to the game are like, wait, they all stepped into the kitchen to hit the ball because it was off the bounce. You cannot volley the ball in there. That's why the kitchen is officially known as the no volley zone. And that's the no-go zone to Tyson McGuffin there as he blasts a winner.
2-2-2. Side out.
2 apiece now. We will have a first-time winner regardless of who takes home this final. Lacy Schneemann has yet to win gold on the Carvana PPA Tour. And the same can be said for Jorja Johnson.
3, 2, 1.
And here's that aggressive attacking style that has served Schneemann and McGuffin so well. There he is smiling at that third member of his team there. Everyone gathered around.
One of the skills required to play pickleball, knowing when the ball is out of bounds.
Yeah, all pickleball players have hit several hundred balls that were going well out, but you just can't help yourself sometimes, Cam. And you heard McGuffin roar to let that one go too, but if it's right at your body, it's hard to get out of the way.
5-2-2.
Third. JW Johnson
2-5-1.
with his Franklin paddle, same as Jorja. Ball out of bounds. That was a missed opportunity.
That's what I say.
McGuffin joking with the crowd. There is replay available if you want to challenge a call here. This was hit with such authority by Schneemann.
little tough with the shadows as well.
Referee timeout. We have a challenge of the out call. The out
so we
call
are going to
pushes
get
at
our first
3-5-1.
challenge of the day here,
We
Cam.
will now proceed with the video review.
So they will challenge the out of bounds call. So Jorja Johnson and JW Johnson take a seat here on championship court as we review this.
After video review, the call in the court is overturned. The ball was in. We will resume play at 2-5-2.
So after the official review, the ball was inbounds. The call is overturned.
Yeah, Lacy hit that so hard. That's hard to make that call. You're calling your own lines, and you have to whip your head around and see that. And that
2-5-2.
ball was deemed in, and that's. I love that we have replay. The big thing you want is to get the call right, and we did there.
3-5-2.
So remarkable as you see the pressure being applied to Jorja Johnson, her taking that step back, trying to play some defense.
Yeah, you have to give ground sometimes. It's a
5-3-1.
mentality shift of when you're so aggressive most of the time, but if the ball's up, you've got to get yourself set to defend. More, please.
The recoil on each one of their paddles is just remarkable. How quick that paddle gets back into position to make contact.
Tremendous. That's why people love pickleball right there. Those incredible firefights.
Power and finesse all in one play.
Yeah, and then the ball goes off the tape and you lose your mind. And Tyson was all set to be patient, and then it was like, ooh, it's sitting up, and took a huge swing and missed it.
Oh boy. You'll remember that one.
Yeah, that's a ball she's going to make 99 out of 100. Unfortunately, the one was on national TV.
Happens to the best of us,
It
Dave.
certainly does.
Happens to the best of us. 4-5 now. Wow! It stays that wrist of JW Johnson.
It's unreal because that ball was hit parallel to his body. So to be able to control that, but with the grip he uses, the paddle face is flat, and he can keep that in.
You're good now.
Making sure we have the proper server in position here.
5-5-1.
Tyson McGuffin.
So the discussion is Lacy thought this point was over and yelled, yeah, in the middle of it right there, and then it continued. So there's a discussion. We're not going to get a hindrance called there, but she couldn't believe that thing came back. Nice job by her partner of staying focused and putting the next one away.
To play at this level, it takes hours and hours of court time. Consistency is through the roof for these athletes. Full-time jobs for these players now as the sport of pickleball continues to grow. Over 45,000 courts across the United States. And just the paddle market alone a year ago, $150 million industry.
So the Johnsons are jumping up and down as they head to the sideline of Championship Court. We'll continue the action after this. Newport Beach, home to some of the most fantastic beaches along the south coast of California. And this is also home to the Newport Beach Doubles Shootout presented by Selkirk.
7-5.
Our fantastic presenting sponsor
7-5 team.
has elevated the game in new ways. So a 2-point advantage turns to 3. Jorja Johnson and JW Johnson are starting to look even that much more energized.
Yeah, she's jumping around. Really positive. 3 points from a title. And now 2.
Jorja Johnson, just 16 years old. Imagine her winning her first title. Oh.
So when you're that close, it's like, how do the nerves hold up? She's thinking the same thing that you're saying there, Cam. And Tyson McGuffin's trying to get the crowd behind him. They've been a comeback team earlier in this tournament. Can they make it happen right now?
That comeback you mentioned was electric. It was in the quarterfinals against Anna Bright and James Ignatowicz.
6-9.
Picking it up in 2 games, but it was 12-10 in the second. Then they took down the #1 player in the world in Ben Johns on the men's side, playing alongside Andrea Koop.
And a sorry, not sorry from McGuffin right there as it just clips the perfect amount of the tape and hops over the paddle of JW Johnson. What a timely event right there for Schneemann and McGuffin.
And the fist pump to her brother. They earn the serve back after dropping 2.
9-7-1.
Lacy Schneemann still moving. It is now 10-7. Championship point for Jorja Johnson and JW Johnson. A timeout called on the court. So at 10-7, now facing championship point. And in a new partnership between Lacy Schneemann and Tyson McGuffin, what can they lean on?
They can lean on that quarterfinal match you mentioned. We've already done this. We've saved game points down. You have to play it one at a time, though. Okay, you can't get the ball back immediately. You've got to get through 2 of these here. You have to decide, all right, where do we want that return to go, and then not try and do too much. Let's work the points. Let's remember what's gotten us here so far, and let's believe that we can do it. Let's talk about when we have made that comeback and get that to happen. As you saw Tyson there, let's win that first point and get the crowd fired up, and let's see if we can put a little pressure on the youngsters on the other side. You mentioned Tyson doesn't lose to youngsters. Well, he's staring down a couple of youngsters, and it's match point again.
Match point, championship point.
Time in. 10-7-1.
Looking for the first shot, but it is now second serve.
10-7-2.
defeat in the face and saying, get out of here.
7-10-1.
They have some work to do, trailing by 3. Tyson getting aggressive with his court positioning. Not a bad take there.
No, just saw a ball up and tried to initiate, just caught the tape. Got to go on 2.
So they find a hold. No points scored for McGuffin and Schneemann. A third shot at championship point for Johnson and Johnson. The Johnsons, golden in Newport. All hugs for Jorja Johnson alongside her brother, JW. Her first gold on the Carvana PPA Tour, and their first gold, more importantly, together.
And that's the look of pure joy right there. She kiddingly said they finally dressed the same, and that got their level up a little bit more. And what a terrific match for the two of them. They took it to Schneemann and McGuffin, and they are the deserving champions.
CBS Sports Spectacular PPA Tour Pickleball is sponsored by Selkirk, the leading high-performance pickleball paddle brand backed by the pros. We are Pickleball.
Welcome back, everyone, one last time to Championship Court, where the Johnson duo have done it. They are the winners of this year's Newport Beach Shootout. Guys, congratulations. It was such a close match. So fun for this crowd to tune in and watch. Tell me, walk me through it. How did you finish this one off in just 2 games?
Well, it was really tough. You know, we were neck and neck almost the entire time, and you know, just had to keep focused. And you know, it's a little tough to see out here. The sun is kind of across, and there's some shadows, but you just gotta, you know, stay in it, stay with your team. You know, and it's easy because it's easier because I know what he's always gonna do.
Well, guys, this is your first mixed title together on tour. This is a big moment for both of you. How good does this feel right now?
Yeah, it was amazing, especially to do it with my sister, so that's a bonus as well. I want to thank everybody here for watching, cheering us on. That was exciting, and yeah, it's really, really cool.
Well, speaking of which, you guys decided to team up together as siblings, which is so awesome. You have a combined age of, I think, the youngest on tour in terms of teams. How do you like that partnership, and how has it worked out for you?
Well, it's worked out well so far, and it's been really fun. You know, there's not a lot of sports where I'd be able to play with my brother, and so pickleball is really special like that. You know, there's a lot of family pairings on tour, and it's really awesome.
Let's head to the Selkirk play of the game.
And it's pretty awesome, Cam, when the play of the game is actually match point. Look at this. Tyson speeding it up. You think it's over. And then they've got to retreat and play defense in pickleball. And if you're not sure what to do, throw it to the moon. Chicanery from McGuffin, and then Schneemann just a little wide. This point's so good. Let's see it from a different angle. And you'll see how good your hands to be a pro pickleball player. Look at these guys. Getting it down, and then JW knows he's in trouble. Tyson's swinging at a fly, and then Schneemann just a little off balance, and then it is such joy and elation on the other side. A little respect, a little paddle tap, a little handshake, and then Jorja Johnson just so happy, full of joy. She's a champion with her brother.
I love it. Jorja Johnson, full of joy. Now their first title together at just 16 and 20 years old. What does that mean for their future?
I think it's huge, Cameron, because sometimes you just need to get that first one, and then you are going to be a menace for the rest of the year. They're the 7th seed, the 7. They're not going to be the 7 very much longer. This is a dynamic team with lots of confidence. Look out the rest of the year.
Well, you said that word, dynamic. We saw a fantastic matchup, but I'm curious, what did you see in this matchup that is making America fall in love with this sport so fast?
Couple of things, Cam. Number one, just we have young players that are pros. We also have people in their 80s playing the sport. So the ability for you, as no matter what age, no matter what skill, go out there and have fun playing. And then we saw the thing that everybody loves, those firefights. Smacking the ball just 14 feet away from somebody. What other sport do you get to do that in? And if you tag somebody, everybody thinks it's funny and laughs. People love getting out on the court with their friends and family. There's nothing better than that. That's why pickleball is on fire.
There is nothing better than pickleball. Coming up next is the Saarbrück Berlin E-Prix. For Dave Fleming and our entire crew, I'm Cameron Irwin saying so long from Newport Beach. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports.